Good day, gentlemen. Dirk here with part 2 of Health and Fitness on the MGTOW solution. We left off with a little discussion of sports psychology, so I'll pick it up from there. It's important to remember why you're doing this fitness stuff. It's probably not so you'll have a better physique to impress females, given that as MGTOW, you probably don't care about impressing females. But most men want to look good with their shirt off as a matter of self-respect. You're doing it for you. And it doesn't matter if you're trying to avoid heart disease or just want to feel and look better. The fact is, physical training makes you a better man. To quote Mark Ripito, strong people are harder to kill than weak people, and more useful in general. And you have to get your head right about training. I don't know if you noticed, but I don't use the word exercise very often, and the reason is that people associate that word with a chore, something they have to do even though they don't want to. Like taking out the trash or something. Not a good outlook. It's better to think of yourself as an athlete, at least at some level, and approach your workouts as training sessions designed to get you to your goals. Don't say to yourself, I have to go do my cardio, with a sense of dread. Think of your workouts as time you get to improve yourself. I look at it like this. Whether I'm in the gym or going for a run, I have genuine gratitude that I'm healthy enough to do so. I have all my limbs, my heart and lungs work, and I'm fortunate for that. I've had my share of surgeries, plus a few injuries, so I don't take it for granted. When I head out on a trail, I consider it a privilege. I never say that I have to go for a run. I say I get to go for a run. And I value that training time. I'm not going to spend the rest of my life getting fatter, weaker, and slower every day. Or at least, I'm going to slow that process down if I can. I knew a guy once who said sarcastically, eat right, exercise, die anyway. In his mind, doing anything productive like this was a waste of time. That's a seriously flawed philosophy for living in my book. I don't train in order to live longer. I train so I can be healthy longer. We all have a lifespan and a health span. And most Americans start losing their health at 30 or even younger. When I worked in a sports medicine clinic, I had a patient once who was on statins at age 22 and not concerned about it in the least. And another one who opted for spinal fusion rather than losing weight. Said he'd rather have surgery than change his lifestyle. These guys may actually live a long time, but I wouldn't want their lives. Fitness and health are not the same thing, but they are related. One way to look at it is that health is the absence of disease and injury. Fitness is the ability to function efficiently when performing physical tasks. So, if you don't bother to learn how to train and you get injured, you're no longer healthy, even if you're fit, because you're injured. CrossFitters and ultra runners do this all the time. But if you're healthy and out of shape, you're more likely to lose your health because you don't have the same resilience as someone who's fit. You're simply more fragile. Surgeons will attest to this. Fit people recover faster. They also survive trauma and illness better. Most injuries from training are the result of either crappy technique or overtraining. Some people say deadlifts are bad for your back, but that's bullshit. Sloppy deadlifts are bad for your back, just like shitty squats and running like an idiot are bad for your knees. If you don't know how to perform a given exercise, don't do it. Use books, videos, and knowledgeable people, and learn to do things right. Of course, you may already have injuries, but that doesn't mean you should go full couch potato. I had a young airman once come to me with a minor knee injury. I asked him what kind of exercise he did, and he looked at me like I was a fucking moron. In his mind, his little knee tweak gave him carte blanche to start living like an asshole, and it was reflected in his 42-inch waist. I've seen men with no legs finish Ironman, so I don't have a lot of tolerance for this kind of shit. I told him to go for a walk and eat a carrot. You can train around your injuries. Maybe you can't set a deadlift PR, but you can do something. I have several injuries I have to be careful not to aggravate, so I had to give up a few things and replace them with others. Sucks, but you gotta do what you gotta do. That means I can't do snatches anymore, but that's okay because there's still a ton of other stuff I can do. And feel free to insert snatch joke here. I know a man with seriously screwed up knees and a pacemaker who can't run. So he bikes about 40 miles several days a week and throws in a little strength work and stretching. He's 82. Also, accept the fact that you're probably going to have to invest a little cash if you're new to the training game. Not much, but some. Most people spend more money maintaining their cars than they do their own health. You're going to at least need some shoes and maybe a gym membership. This shouldn't be a problem for any MGTOW, though, since we don't blow money on women. Now, you obviously don't have to work out if you don't want to, but if that's the case, then you're probably not watching these videos. The fact that you're still here tells me that you have an interest in this. If you're already training, that's awesome. Keep hammering. If you're not, then I'd encourage you to start. It's not all that complicated or difficult, and being a free man, there's nothing stopping you. Most people are out of shape and suffering from diseases due to lifestyle errors, like spending all their free time eating junk food on a couch. In fact, the majority of our healthcare costs are due to preventable diseases. To me, that doesn't make sense for anyone, least of all MGTOW, because among men, we're the only ones that have opted out of all the crap that destroys men's quality of life. And we of all people have the freedom to achieve our full potential. Here's the thing. Anthropologists estimate that human beings evolved as hunter-gatherers who typically covered about 12 miles every day on foot. Most of this was walking. But there was also some serious sprinting in order to catch food or to avoid becoming food. People had to pick up heavy things like dead animals and rocks, so they got a lot of physical activity all day long. We're still evolved for that lifestyle, but people get little to no physical activity at all while living on a grains and sugar-based diet. Then they blame their health problems on getting old and wonder why they have diabetes. Other people do work out, and they may even train hard, but in many cases you end up with what's known as a sedentary athlete. This is someone who will train for an hour every day, but the other 23 hours are completely sedentary, with most of those hours spent in a sitting position. So if you're going to try to improve your health and fitness, it's a good idea to ensure that you're somewhat active throughout the day. Just getting up from your desk a lot and walking a bit at lunch can result in surprising improvements. You don't want your body to get locked into the shape of a chair. You may have heard the term, sitting is the new smoking, and that's because we do far too much of it, and it really isn't good for us. There's a simple fix for sitting too much. Get a stand-up workstation. We've gone from being a species that hunted and gathered all day long to a species that sits on our asses all day and says, "Please feed me through my car window." You might want to avoid that, even if it is considered normal. It's mainstream American life, and you've already rejected the mainstream, so you may as well take that a step further by being one of the few people that actually takes care of their health and fitness. Let me jump in here with some content I had previously posted on a blog that may prove useful here. It's just a few articles, then we'll wrap this whole health and fitness thing up for now. Key steps to fitness. Get screened. Physical activity involves movement, obviously. If you're going to train, then it's important to find out if you're capable of moving well. If you have any limitations, they need to be addressed in order to avoid injury and maximize performance. I strongly advise everyone to get screened by the Functional Movement Screen, FMS, which is a 10-minute assessment that'll determine quickly if you have any issues or clear you for training. Any qualified trainer will be FMS certified, or find a provider at functionalmovement.com. Never perform another bad rep. Take your training to technical failure, never beyond. Sloppy technique fosters more sloppy technique, which invites injury. Once your form starts falling apart, that set is done. Work on soft tissue and mobility. This means foam rolling and stretching, both of which enhance performance and reduce injury. Your warm-up should usually consist of foam rolling, a general warm-up, then a specific warm-up. Forget the idea that you need to warm up to stretch. It's an outdated concept based upon flawed interpretation of limited studies. Foam roll and stretch often, not just on training days. Sure, you can neglect this and still get fit, but if you've got tight muscles, that's like driving a Ferrari with the parking brake on and the front end out of alignment. Set goals. It's far easier to stay motivated when you're training for improvement in a sport or working toward a specific goal. If you have a 10K coming up, or a tennis match, or a hike up Half Dome, then you'll be less likely to blow off your workouts. Of course, you can also just set training goals, such as improving your 1-rep max in a given lift. The point is to have some purpose to your training beyond simply feeling better or looking better. Eliminate wheat from your diet. I know this sounds extreme, but if you try this for 1 month, you'll likely never go back. Wheat is an appetite stimulant, which is why you can eat so much pizza. It causes severe insulin responses, among other problems. Modern wheat has been genetically modified in the extreme. It is, frankly, frankenfood. Replace wheat with veggies and nuts, and you'll be amazed at the improvements in your health. Know what you're doing. If you can't answer the question, why am I doing this exercise? Then you shouldn't be doing it. And it'll make me stronger isn't a good answer. Equally important, learn how to train with perfect form. Make recovery as important as training. Your performance will largely be governed by how well you've recovered from the previous workout. Recovery should begin immediately following training. Do a proper cool down and take in water and some protein and carbs within 30 minutes following a session. Eat right and continue hydration throughout the day, then get a good night's sleep. Physical training doesn't create fitness. It creates the stimulus for adaptations which take place during recovery, particularly during sleep. About equipment. As far as equipment goes, there's a lot of junk out there. Ignore those infomercials. No single piece of equipment can do everything you need. Instead of thinking in terms of what piece of gear is best, think in terms of what are you trying to accomplish. Then select the right tool for the job. The following are tried and true training implements. Some have been around for centuries, some are relatively new. The point is that they are all proven effective tools when utilized properly. Barbells. Barbells have been synonymous with strength training for longer than anyone can remember, and for good reason. They can develop strength, power, mobility, balance, and coordination. As for plates, you have two basic choices, cast iron or bumper plates. Cast iron plates are what you'll see in most gyms, and that's fine. However, rubber-coated bumper plates are more versatile because they can be dropped. This is critical if you're doing Olympic lifts because it isn't practical or safe to spot a lifter performing snatches, cleans, and jerks. You need to be able to drop the bar. Dumbbells. The main advantage of dumbbells are A, they allow you to train unilaterally, that is, on one side. B, they allow greater range of motion than barbells. And C, they expose and correct bilateral strength deficits. Looking at each of these, consider the military press. With a barbell, you'll have both hands on the bar, so you have no choice but to train bilaterally. However, if you perform the press with a single dumbbell, everything changes because of the offset center of gravity. The demands on core stability are therefore greatly increased. As for range of motion, the width of your hands is fixed with a barbell, which prevents full abduction of the arms. With two dumbbells, your hands can move closer together at the top of the lift. You can clearly see this in the photo. Finally, when you pick up and press two dumbbells, you'll quickly discover if one side is stronger than the other. This isn't always apparent with a barbell. None of this is to say that dumbbells are superior to barbells, they're just different. Kettlebells. The kettlebell has been rediscovered as a highly effective tool for developing virtually all aspects of fitness. The offset handle allows the lifter to perform moves like kettlebell swings that would be difficult or impossible with other implements. Another major advantage is that the kettlebell power moves like snatches and swings work the posterior kinetic chain very effectively. This is important because the posterior chain is often neglected in favor of front-side mirror muscle training. In regards to strength, the kettlebell can be used for many traditional exercises, such as presses, with the advantage of an offset center of gravity. Kettlebells require and develop significant grip strength to maintain proper wrist alignment due to this offset center of gravity. And then there's the Turkish get-up, a demanding whole-body exercise which is particularly beneficial for the core and shoulders. The Turkish get-up has proven so effective that many respected strength coaches have stated that if they were limited to a single exercise, the Turkish get-up would be it. Suspension training systems. A fairly recent innovation in training is the use of suspension trainers such as the TRX and gymnastic rings. These systems take bodyweight training to a whole new level by suspending the hands or feet. This opens the door to entirely new exercises while also making conventional exercises more difficult. Another advantage is the fact that in most suspended exercises, the athlete must stabilize the core in unique ways. For example, in a chest press, you have feet on the ground and hands suspended. The move looks like a push-up, but there is a major difference. With the hands suspended, the athlete needs to engage not only core musculature, but the shoulder stabilizers as well, to keep the hands from moving. Another big plus is that these systems are portable. A TRX system weighs about 1.5 pounds and packs into a bag about the size of a lunch bag. You can hang it off trees, fences, posts, even anchor it to a door. This makes it a great solution for travelers and also for people who want to take their workouts outside. Medicine balls. The beauty of medicine ball training is that you can impart absolute maximal force to them in any plane of movement. They're generally considered a light implement for power development. To illustrate, let's compare a bench press to a med ball chest pass. Both are primarily chest exercises working on the horizontal press, but there's an important difference. In the bench press, you have to decelerate the bar at the top of the lift, resulting in less than maximal force output near end range. With a med ball, you can safely accelerate all the way through the move. It's a throw. Med balls are also very effective in developing rotary power in the transverse plane, an oft neglected aspect of fitness that's important in most sports and critical in rotational sports like baseball, golf, and martial arts. Battle ropes. When I first saw athletes training with battle ropes, I must admit I had my reservations. That changed immediately upon going through my first rope workout. The idea is to send waves down the length of the rope through a variety of body movements. The rope provides a unique form of dynamic resistance during very fast movements. I consider ropes a conditioning tool for the phosphagen and glycolytic energy systems. Short sets of all-out effort coupled with short rests make for a very demanding workout in a very short period of time. 10 minutes of rope intervals is enough to leave most athletes completely smoked. Aside from the conditioning benefits, ropes also work the shoulders very effectively, including the rotator cuff muscles. Body weight training. Why talk about body weight training in a discussion of training equipment? Because A, body weight training is an effective and underused technique, and B, body weight exercises are often progressed by means of equipment. Obviously, you can do body weight exercises pretty much anywhere. As you progress, you have several options for increasing difficulty. You can go from regular push-ups to clapping push-ups, then one-arm push-ups, for example. Or you can manipulate angles, as in decline push-ups and handstand push-ups. Finally, you can add weight to your body with things like weight vests and dip belts. There's another reason body weight exercises are important. They provide a means to measure and correct movement patterns prior to loading the pattern. The best example of this is the squat. In a proper squat, the athlete lowers to rock bottom, or at least to thighs parallel with the ground. Many people can't do this, even without a barbell. Until they can, they have no business loading the squat with a bar. Of course, this principle is violated regularly. It's common to see lifters loading on the plates, which looks impressive, until they do a 6-inch squat. Don't be that guy. Foam rolls and massage sticks. If there's one piece of equipment every athlete should own, it's a foam roll. The idea is to get the benefits of deep tissue massage without paying a massage tech. Basically, you use foam rolls and sticks to work out kinks in your muscles and fascia. The result is that muscular function is enhanced, but also that you just plain feel better. Obviously, there are many other training tools available, some effective, some not. Selectorized single joint machines have been omitted here for a reason. They don't replicate anything in the real world. That said, they can be useful for injured athletes. Finally, plan to spend some time learning to use these tools. Ideally, find a qualified coach. If that isn't possible, use reputable books and videos. There's a ton of useful info on the web, but also a lot of garbage. The important thing is to learn proper form for any exercise you do, and also to know why you're doing it. It's not about the gear. It's about getting results. America, fat and weak. Let's face it, our country has really let itself go. Our cushy lifestyle has caught up with us. Even our children are paying the price. For the first time in history, their lifespans will decline compared to previous generations. They'll mostly die from sedentary death syndrome. That is, heart disease, diabetes, etc. Things that are mostly preventable. As they slowly fall to pieces, modern medicine will keep them alive as long as possible, and ultimately, we'll all pay the bill. This will ensure that our economy is weak and unhealthy, just like our citizenry. This is already happening, of course, but it's going to get much worse if we do nothing. We can all either be part of the solution or part of the problem. Many people feel that if they do nothing to take care of their own health, it's nobody's business but their own. This selfish attitude is prevalent in our society. Laziness is a right, like free speech. In fact, the obese have formed lobbying groups claiming disabled status and complaining about discrimination. But the truth is, these people are costing the U.S. about $150 billion every year in health care. Their behavior does affect others, whether it's in the form of higher insurance rates or lack of elbow room on airplanes. Fat and lazy is not an unavoidable medical condition. How can we fix this obesity epidemic? Put simply, eat right and get plenty of exercise. That's always been good advice, though it's largely ignored today, obviously. On the other hand, some people do seem to finally be figuring it out. A lot of people are doing the right things, staying physically active, eating well, and generally taking care of themselves. They're not fanatical health nuts either, living on the fringe of modern society, lost in their own vanity. On the contrary, being physically fit is our natural state. We are not meant to end up in scooter chairs because we can no longer move. Personal trainers. The personal training industry has a problem. In most cases, the certified personal trainer wants to keep you as a client for as long as possible. They'd also like to be present at every workout you do, preferably forever. This is the ideal arrangement for the trainer financially. To accomplish this, you're given limited information and led to believe that you simply can't work out without professional supervision. That's why most personal trainers adjust all your equipment for you, count your reps, and keep your training log. After all, if they teach you too much, you might not need them anymore. This dependent, dysfunctional relationship is the norm in most gyms. A more productive approach is for the trainer to teach the client what they need to know in order to reach their fitness goals and to maintain their fitness for a lifetime. Every training session is more than a workout. It's a learning session. You should know more at the end of each session than you did at the beginning. If you don't, then you need to find a new trainer. Look at it this way. If you want to learn to fly airplanes, there's a process to achieve it. A qualified flight instructor gives you some knowledge in ground school, then supervises your flights for a while, providing coaching and feedback along the way. The final test is the day you first fly solo. After that, you no longer need your instructor, though you do continue to learn and hone your skills with experience. If you applied the typical personal training model to this, your flight instructor would go with you on every flight and simply tell you what to do. You'd be lost without their direction, unable to think on your own, and you'd never fly solo. If you tried, it would end in disaster because you weren't taught what you need to know. The point is that your relationship with your trainer should be that of a mentor-student, not a boss-worker. This isn't to say that it won't be a long-term relationship. After all, coaches can be invaluable, and there's always something new to learn. But you should become much less dependent on your trainer over time. Your knowledge level should increase along with your fitness level. Okay, I've given you some stuff to think about. Let me close by reiterating that as MGTOW, you have a golden opportunity to be in great shape and to use that fitness doing cool shit. I think a lot of us are doing exactly that, and to me, it makes perfect sense. It's pretty much the opposite of being in a relationship with a woman, in that the benefits far exceed the sacrifices, not the other way around. So pick up heavy things, push stuff, pull stuff, jump over stuff, and run through the hills. Life is short, gentlemen. Make the most of it. These videos were just meant to get you started, or maybe give you some new ideas. Hit the links in the comments section for more specific info, or find some other source. There's a lot of ways to go about the whole health and fitness thing, so if you're not already doing it, find something that'll work for you as an individual. As far as I'm concerned, MGTOW are the last men on earth that should be suffering from dad bods and getting winded on a flight of stairs. Thanks for listening, and have a great day.